Hello, everybody, and welcome to the April edition of the Krehbiel Letter podcast, in which I pull out the latest copy of the Krehbiel Letter and summarize it for you. I'm not going to read it to you. If you'd like to read it, you can go to krehbielgroup.com and click on the navigation to the Krehbiel Letter, and you can get the latest edition and all the other previous editions as well. The April edition focuses on putting the customer first in several different ways, with paywalls, with content recommendations, in your marketing language, with benefits, and even in the meaning of the word perfect. So let's start with paywalls. The basic message here is that an ad-supported internet allows free access to content, which is a good thing, but in the process it makes that content worse. And here's why. What's the purpose of an ad? An ad is to distract you from what you're doing to go do some other thing, right? So I'm reading an article about backpacks and I see an ad to send me off to buy a backpack. But I didn't finish reading the article about backpacks, right? That the whole purpose of the ad is to get you away from reading the article. It wants to find people who have interest in a certain thing and then distract them from what they're doing to go do another thing. And that's not so great, right? I mean, we've had this big digital transformation where we're moving things from print to online, and we're coming up with new ways to generate content and new ways to do all these interesting things, but we haven't really improved the reader experience, at least not in my opinion. If you try to read an article on a smartphone, there are so many things in the way. It's really annoying. There are all these ads and pop-ups and everything else. Okay, well, maybe that's the price that people pay for getting information for free. So be it. If you want things for free, then you're going to have this scrappy experience with ads in your way and all that. But if you want a good reader experience, you don't want all of that. And that's another reason for you to consider a paywall for your subscribers, for your readers. If you want to provide them the best digital reading experience that you can, then take away the distractions of the ads and put it behind a paywall and have fewer ads, have them at the bottom of the article, something, so that the reader experience is better. I think not enough attention has been paid to making the experience of reading digital content better, at least as far as articles on the internet go. So the next one is about content recommendation options. Now, content recommendation is a great way to help the reader. You're saying, okay, you're interested in reading about backpacks. You might also be interested in hiking shoes or water purifiers or something. I just went on the Appalachian Trail a few days ago, so it's all in my head. But content recommendations might help you take some of those drive-bys and keep them for another page or two. When I say drive-bys, the vast majority of people who come to your website come once and are done. Actually, the vast majority of visits to your website aren't people at all. They're bots. But of the people who come to your website, the vast majority come once and they're gone, and that's it. Now, if you can increase those drive-bys to one more page view, then that can be a substantial improvement in your traffic. Now, one way to do that is with effective content recommendations, and I'd like to discuss three things about content recommendations. The first is how you classify content. And there are a lot of different ways to look at this. And the reason I'm discussing these options for content recommendations is in case you want to look into content recommendations, which I encourage you to do. You should know what the possibilities are. No given solution is going to be able to do all the things that I'm going to discuss here, but have it all in mind. Download a copy of the Krehbiel Letter, look at this list, and you'll have more of a framework of what's possible to do. I'm also writing an article on the same topic on the martech.org website. It'll be a little longer than the one in the Krehbiel Letter. So how do you classify content? There's words in the title. There's keywords or tags. There's word density in the article. There are categories. There's the author. There's long versus short articles. So think about different ways you can classify your articles, and then think about why that might or might not be relevant for content recommendations. For example, let's say you have a visitor who only reads the abstracts. Well, don't recommend the long articles to that person. Recommend the abstracts to that person, right? So the different ways to classify your content can guide how your content recommendation strategy. Another thing is to think about types of recommendations. Now, there's a lot of different ways to slice this. There's what's popular on the site right now. It's valuable in certain circumstances. There's what's popular in a certain category. If I'm in the backpacking category, here's what everybody's reading about. There's popular by a specific author. I really like this guy. I want to hear what else he has to say. There's articles read by visitors who read the article that you're on right now. There's any number of different ways to slice and dice this, and if you download the Krehbiel Letter, there are a few more examples. But if you think about different ways to do recommendations, then you'll have questions to ask whatever service you try to use for content recommendation. And then the last thing is to put the reader first. Put yourself in the reader's shoes and design your content recommendation strategy around what will help the reader find the content that's most likely to be useful to the reader. All right? Okay, the next one is based on something I saw on LinkedIn that just rubbed me the wrong way. It said, media organizations need to establish a relationship and give easy ways for the subscriber to stay connected. And I read that and I said, frou-frou baloney. Nobody in the world wants to have a relationship with your brand. That is delusional marketing talk, okay? That's not the way anybody operates in real life. Also, nobody wants to stay connected. You want them to stay connected. They don't. They want to get what they're getting and move on with their life. So your readers stay connected to the extent that you're giving something of value to them. Focus on that. Don't focus on this relationships and staying connected. Forget that. Focus on meeting the needs of your market. Focus on giving them what they want. And then, yes, they will stay connected. And you can call that a relationship with you if you want and you're weird. Okay, the next one is a saying that's a favorite of mine. And some of my friends like to say, perfect is the enemy of done. And I agree with that. It's a good statement. But what does perfect mean? And does the phrase mean that I should take my amateurish first draft and put it out for public? No. So we have to fine tune this a little bit, right? The perfect thing is the thing that meets the need at hand. If I'm in my kayak and I'm in the middle of a school of fish, the perfect lure is the one I can get in the water right now. That's the perfect lure. Doesn't necessarily have to be perfect in other ways. So the whole idea of perfect being the enemy of done assumes a goal, assumes a purpose. So what you need to think of, instead of perfect is the enemy of done, maybe think of this. Does it fit the purpose? That forces you to think about, okay, what is the purpose of the thing I'm trying to do? A new website, a new email, a new ad, whatever it is. What's the purpose, and does this thing fit that purpose? And then don't allow other considerations, the perfect, to get in the way of meeting that purpose. Okay, and here's the last one. It's about features and benefits. And my friend Mark Stiving says, novices buy benefits, experts buy features. And I like this, and I was thinking about it in the context of retention strategies. So think about features and benefits this way. Low-tech grandma doesn't have a smartphone. So the grandkids are all saying, Grandma, you can keep up with us on this and that. You can see pictures. You can chat with us. They're focusing on benefits, how it benefits grandma to have the smartphone so she can keep up with her grandkids, which is what she wants to do, right? Those are benefits. Now, a year later, grandma's used to smartphones. Now she's worried about, battery life and how many photos she can store on the phone. Those are features. So early on, you're focused about how does this improve my life? But then later on, you're focused on features. Okay, I know it helps my life. That's why I have it. And that's why I want a faster processor. That's why I want more speed. More storage space, right? So in your retention efforts, you should think about that, your acquisition and retention efforts. Perhaps in acquisition efforts, you should focus on benefits, and in retention efforts, you should focus on features. But anyway, that's something to consider. It's an interesting twist because I was always taught features and benefits, and then over the years, people were like, yeah, features and benefits, but mostly benefits. And that seemed right to me because it's sort of like, how does this make my life better, which is what you're trying to do with your product. But as Mark Stiving points out, once you become an expert, then you already know that, and you just want to find out the details about how is this going to do this for me. So that's everything with the latest Krehbiel Letter. If you want to contact me, go to my website, krehbielgroup.com, download the latest issue of the letter, or if you have any questions, send them to me. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks so much.